Gonzo, it feels a bit like pre-season. It's been 3 weeks without a game. I've had a friendly, and the players have been in Miami on a hot weather trip.
Yeah, I forgot about the friendly. Actually, I've been in a sort of Netflix sort of my little world really for the past couple of weeks, binge watching Netflix stuff. So yeah.
What did you watch? What have you watched?
I watched Stranger Things, and now, which I really enjoyed actually. I thought it was going to be rubbish. It looked like a kids thing, but it's got kids in it. Obviously, it's not.
Is it based on David Moyes' defensive selections?
It certainly is. It was a strange, crikey, Stranger Things is just really based on what's been going on with the club at the moment. And now I'm on Shooter, which is funny enough something that we're clearly lacking.
Is that the series or the film? I assume it's a series, not the film.
It's a series. I think what Mark Wahlberg was in did the film.
I've watched it. It's very good. It's very good.
Okay, I'm five episodes. The trouble is with it is because you sort of binge watch, and I've got a telly up in bed as well, and I keep on. I'm stuck on episode 5. I can't get past episode 5 because I keep falling asleep. I put it on in bed, so I keep watching the same 10 minutes over and over and over. So it's a very good 10 minutes.
It's a good watch. Watch Designated Survivor. That's a good watch.
Okay, well. that is on the list actually.
Well, speaking of the family, did you watch it? Save the Daggers.
No, I didn't watch it. I read the reports.
I watched it. The stream was horrific. But to be fair, at least the club. To be fair to the club, at least they put the stream on. Okay, it was streamed on a potato, but we were still able to watch something bloody. It was bloody, but it was a friendly. I thought Antonio looked good, but he was probably the only one on the pitch that was playing for something. Apart from that, it was all the youngsters. It was a youngster show, I should expect, but I thought Antonio looked good, which is going to give Moyes a bit of a headache, because where do you put him on Saturday? And if it's up front, then who are you leaving out in order to put him up front? Or you stick him in a wing back where you don't want to be? But we're doing the preview tomorrow night on Thursday, so we won't be talking about the Saints game tonight. But yeah, do you agree with having the friendly? Because there was a lot of Ginge went over the hamstring injury during it. Now, a lot of people have said, well, what do you expect? But other people are saying, well, it's important because it's not quite, it's sort of grassroots football in a way. It's, helping out the local team.
Yeah, look, everybody's wise after the event, aren't they? So I think you're sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. It was the same with the Miami trip. I just think we needed to do something different. Lots different. What we were doing before was not working. So if different is going to Miami, getting a bit of sun on their backs, playing a bit of beach volleyball, going home, coming home, helping out a local club at the same time, getting some minutes under the belt with what is a 3-week break because everybody else is playing in cup competitions, and obviously the international football has been on, hasn't it, this week? People get injured. He could have got injured in training. So, in fact, at our training ground, he is highly likely to get injured in training. So, I didn't have a problem with it.
I think there was too many first-team players played, though. That was my point. I agree with playing. I'm surprised Cullen didn't start, to be fair, but I agree with playing the likes of Hugo, Masuaku after missing 6 games, essentially. But to play Collins, who's been arguably one of our first names on the team sheet players, I thought was just asking for trouble a little bit, especially when Pask was on the bench, who then came on for Collins and actually played really, really well. I thought that was a naive thing to do, possibly. But it is what it is. Hugo didn't look too good, I will say that. I know he got his goal, and I know it was only a friendly, so I'm not going to judge him. This isn't me judging him. This is just me commenting on the friendly. He wasn't very good. The last few weeks when we do the reviews, you say, why is Hugo not gone? Why is Hugo not gone? I can sort of see why Hugo's not gone. I know the games have been lost, so he probably should have come on, but that friendly is anything to go by. He's not going to be starting against Southampton. He's not staked a place in the team like I thought he would. I was quite looking forward to seeing him, actually. He was the one I was looking forward to seeing what he's got, because given the fact that we've been so crap with it lately and it's a must-win game, I thought this is Hugo's chance. I thought Hugo was in contention to start on Saturday. Then I watched a friendly and I thought, you're not in contention to start, actually, mate. Sorry. It's what are you gonna? What's the plan for Hugo? Are we got to sell him in the summer? Do we loan him out, or what? Or do we? Is it a case of he's only going to be here next year if we get relegated?
Well, I always feel slightly uncomfortable about this sort of thing, particularly when he's not had a chance, and particularly in light of the fact I've seen a couple of videos, a couple of interviews with him, and he seems like a really nice lad. He really does. So last thing I want to do is sit here and slag him off, but he's been signed and we got to discuss him. So that's that really. I don't know why he was signed, and consequently I don't know what the intention was. I don't know how we were supposed to use him. It's not as if we were like when we were linked with that Hogan last season before he got injured. He went to Aston Villa and got injured, didn't he? He was possibly the most lively striker in the lower division. That's not what we went and got with Hugo. We didn't go and get the best striker in the division below. We went and got somebody who it was a bit of a journeyman. Maybe he'd been to Port Vale or something before. He'd had a couple of clubs, and his scoring record was not particularly good. So that's a hell of a gamble. It wasn't Jamie Vardy from Fleetwood or wherever it was, put it that way. So I don't know what the intention was when we bought him. I would be very disappointed to think that I assume it's Moyes because of the Preston link, but I'd be very disappointed if Moyes had only just found out by watching that friendly at Dagenham Redbridge that he wasn't much good. It's a worry. What's the future for him? I don't know. Will a Championship club even buy him?
Well, we know why we bought him, because it was the last day of the transfer window. We hadn't bought anyone. It was like, oh, bugger, we better get someone. And if you were to go for the best striker in the Championship, you're probably not going to get him on deadline day. They're probably going to say, no, piss off, you ain't getting him, unless you offer extreme amounts of money. So you have to go get what looks like a decent Championship striker, because you can actually go purchase him, because they will actually sell them to you. And this goes back to the whole thing, who actually signed him? Because if it is Moyes, why ain't Moyes playing him? And it does, what makes me, there was something Sullivan said, in one of his interviews he did, and he said we have to look at the lower leagues because he wants to find the next Dele Alli. Like he's all of a sudden going to find someone who's going to go from 4 million to 40 million in the space of 2 months, like he did it. But anyway, let's ignore that. So it almost makes me think he's gone and got Hugo, hoping that Hugo's going to come up, bashing a few goals for the end of the season, and his market value is going to triple, and he's going to be sitting there looking like the director of football he thinks he really is. But we'll wait and see. He's got, the problem is I don't see how he's going to get a chance between now and the end of the season because of the situation we're in. The only way he's going to get a chance is we secure Premier League survival with 2 or 3 games to spare. Then it's sort of, well, 17, 15, 14. Does it really matter? We're going to stay up. Let's give Hugo and that the chance to show what he can do. But speaking of Save the Daggers friendly, Save the Daggers is also the motto of Khan, allegedly. Did you see the emails between Khan and Brady?
Well, not. There wasn't there was loads of them, weren't there? Well,
yeah, 32 pages.
No, I didn't do that. No, I relied on everybody else to do all the dirty work, and I just sort of just skimmed over the detail. What was clear was that it's not a harmonious relationship, and I think the fact that they've had a meeting only lasted 45 minutes afterwards tells and explains quite a lot about the relationship as well. I mean, you've been in meetings with Karen Brady, you know what it's like. She will, and this is to fans, she'll sit in there for 2 or 3 hours. So I'd imagine for somebody who, you know, is probably slightly more important than you or I, as far as she's concerned and as far as the club's concerned, she'd have wanted longer than 45 minutes. I'd imagine if someone's walked out, it's going to have been him. And there's clearly a fractious relationship between the two, which is in no way healthy for the club. And also, I think it's also worth bearing in mind that Karen Brady, Baroness Brady, who is, I suppose, a Conservative peer, has got designs on the mayor's office. She wants that job as well. Khan is going to be aware of that. So how they could ever have a decent working relationship when she is possibly going to run against him for the main opposition party is anyone's guess. So there's politics involved, there's money involved, stadiums involved, and then there's all the football stuff as well. So yeah, not too clever, mate.
I can't believe, I actually found myself, it was a bit strange actually, because the weekend on my own Twitter was sort of really tearing into Karen Brady's apology in the Sun, and then we did our video, and as you remember, I wasn't very happy with it, and I still am. But a few days later, when these emails came out and I read them, I was actually siding with Brady after reading the emails, because I actually thought it started off that she was sort of sticking up for the club a little bit, saying, look, and it's black and white. The club offered to pay for the new carpet around the pitch because there was rumours going around from a few in the nose at West Ham that West Ham refusing to pay the money, and that's why it was, well, actually, that's that rumour gone because it's there in black and white. West Ham wanted to pay for it, but it was just a no, you're not getting to put it in. And I felt a little bit, I don't know if sorry is the word, because it was, the deal is so cheap that you can't expect to sign such a cheap deal and then expect a few favours in return. It's just not happening. But I felt a little bit like, well, actually, she is trying to pay for stuff and get stuff done. But the relationship's so fragile and gone now that there's no play. So no, we don't care if you're gonna. And then it said that the West Ham offered to lend E20 a loan, and E20 refused it. But it just shows that E20 now are so far gone with Brady in the club. They don't even want to work with them. We are missing the emails from Brady to E20 to give the whole thing context, because quite often I read it all. It took me a couple of sittings, but I got through it. But there was an email from Brady to Khan at one point, and it was a bit interesting. And the next letter was another email from Brady to Khan, referring to a letter that she received from E20 that Khan had seen, but we can see that letter. And you need that letter to give the whole thing context. But by the looks of it, the relationship's just gone. It's non-existent. And it makes you wonder how this can go forward, really. You know, nobody wants to work together. It started off with Karen was trying to work with E20, but then of her letters, you can quite tell she's given up as well. She's even saying to Karen, I need to meet you. And for over a year, she's been trying to get this meeting that only lasted 45 minutes. It's in the letters. She's been trying to get this meeting for ages. Karen clearly can't be arsed. You know, inviting him to come to the Liverpool game, etc., because he's a Liverpool fan. And he says he's too busy, but if it was really important, he'd find a way. And 45 minutes does, like you said, signals that he turned up and said what he had to say and leave. He's the one that's pointing the finger at the West Ham fans by saying there's 150 incidents or whatever at the London Stadium against Burnley. It's coming from him in his office about it. And the club are still going down this different route because the club are still saying, well, there was budget cuts, and they were saying, well, no, there wasn't. So we're still... It's gone from disagreeing in private to disagreeing in public now, and this is where it gets even more dangerous between those two parties.
Yeah, well, listen, him and his office can stick it up their whatsits, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, because he is lacking a certain professionalism about him. He's not conducting himself in the way that a statesman should. And make no mistake, makes no mistake about it. This is the mayor of London. He has to act in a statesman-like fashion, and it looks as though he's throwing a strop. He's acting like a stroppy kid. The fact of the matter is, the club have got a good deal, and let's just call it. Forget E20, LLDC. Let's just call it the mayor's office. The mayor's office have got a bad deal. Khan is not going to be happy about it because the incumbent at the time, who was Boris Johnson, signed that bad deal. Khan has inherited a bad deal, but it's a watertight deal. It's a legally binding contract. So all he can do is spit his dummy out. All they can do is throw a hissy fit. All they can do, the mayor's office, E20, whatever you want to call them, is refuse to work with West Ham. And that is just pure stubbornness. West Ham saying, we will pay for something that is going to improve the stadium. You don't have to pay for it. We will pay for it. That's just pure stubbornness. And them saying it is just them digging their heels in. And that's what you've got, is petulance. And when you have got them being petulant, that's really the only thing that they've got that they can do. It's a real worry, actually. But it's more of a worry for the mayor's office and for the taxpayer, because West Ham are still sat here in our watertight deal. And as it stands, I believe we're taking them to court. As regular watchers, listeners of this show will know, we've always thought that that was going to be something dodgy. And knowing Brady, you know, listen, she might be a bitch, but she's our bitch in many respects. And she's going to have done us a deal that's tucked the mayor's office right up, and it will be watertight. And the club will get their 66,000 seats. And they can't throw a strop to the extent that they can close down the stadium or anything like that. They have to let us in there for football. That's what's going to happen. And I just think that they're so annoyed with it. Khan is so annoyed with it. He's walked in, thrown a few toys out of the pram, and left again.
The thing is, so I know you say a good deal. I don't think it is a good deal. It's a cheap deal.
Yeah.
Deal for the club, because I know you said that can and that are stuck. But I think the club are now stuck as well, because there's stuff we want to do, we just can't do because the deal is so cheap. And in hindsight's always good. It was signed with money motivated rather than West Ham fans experience motivated, if that makes sense. You know, we can't control the stewards, we can't even change the colour of the surround of the football pitch and stuff. And in the SAG, the supporters advisory group thing that they had last night or the previous night, I've only read half the minutes, I've only got halfway, but in it, she said it as if it's like a unique thing, and it is, but it's not a good thing. And that was that we're the only club in the country that doesn't control their match day stewards. I thought, well, that's your fault. This has come down to you. But it's the way they're using it as an excuse for trouble. You know, like, well, this happened because we don't control this. Well, you signed a deal that gave up the ownership of the stewards. You can't just turn it on the E20, the LS185, LLDC. You can, whoever you want to blame. You can't do that because you put it in the deal that they would do it all. It's almost like she's seen $2.5 billion and took it, and then not thinking further down the line, this could all happen. But speaking of E20 and what they've got to fork out for now, they've now got to fork out for barriers around the director's box. Did you see all this, despite your Netflix frenzy you had?
Yeah, I did.
What did you make of it? The barriers are going up and disabled fans have been told to shift.
Well, you can't be too careful, really, can you? You know, they might set their carers on them or throw a wheel on them or something. To be fair, they need to watch out for the children as well. You know, they need to come down. They need to come down on everything. I don't know. It's ridiculous, really. It's pathetic. They're coming. It's almost like they've just acted without any PR advice whatsoever. What is a disabled fan gonna do? I mean, seriously, what is it? Now, I know they haven't moved them because they think they're going to cause trouble, but why can't? I don't get it. I understand about large groups in there. I don't understand. You know what these disabled areas are like with a wheelchair access. There's a little alcove, if you like. It sort of protrudes onto the top of the lower tier, so they're actually not encroaching on the walkway anyway. So there's no reason for them not to go in there. It just smacks of bad publicity and of bad PR and bad decision making. You'd have just, I just think they would, mate, I said it from day one. They'd have been better off staying away. They've now created a rod for their own back, and just because, what are they trying to? It's all about their own safety, but I think they think they're basically circumventing the problem as well, and thinking that those horrible images or whatever they want to avoid will not be on there. Well, they will be. People can still congregate by the barriers. You can still get exactly the same scenes, and if I don't think it will happen necessarily, but I just think it's in poor taste. I think it's badly thought out, and I just think it could have been handled so much better.
This has actually pissed me off, to be honest with you. I see that. I know this isn't how you should look at it, but this is how I see it. I see this as the owner saying it's more important. It's more important that we come to the game than that disabled lot sit in their seats. It's more important we sit in our seats than them lot. That's why I see it, because those disabled fans are being moved. So them three, just three people. That's all it is. It's three people. Them three can take their seats. To hell with whoever sits underneath us. You must shift so we can sit here. And that's genuinely really got my back up when I read it. And the worst thing is, there's surely a common sense thing here. Put your barriers up. Then when the disabled fan turns up, you move the barrier and let the disabled fan in and shut the barrier again. So they're sitting inside the barriered area. It doesn't even make sense. I don't even know why the disabled person's got to move. But the other thing is, you cannot offer these fans a comparable view, because the same view mirrored is in the east stand, and in the middle of the east stand it's all one great big tier. When you look at it, there's no disabled bit in halfway up the east stand. It's impossible to give them a comparable view. The club honestly, the club has shot themselves in the foot so much. They need to be sitting in the disabled bit because they ain't got no feet left. You know, it's just, I don't get how they've not thought this through. Who thought this was a good idea? I genuinely don't get it. There might only be moving 6 fans, 8 fans. I don't know how many disabled bits sit in that bit they need to move, right? Let's just say there's 8 fans. But all it takes is 1 fan, which has happened, to tell everybody else they're being shifted and to refuse to move. Now, this fan is on Knees Up Motherbrand, created a thread, the biggest West Ham website, including the official site on the internet, created a thread saying that he's been told to move, doesn't want to move, he's refused to move. He then went on TalkSport. Someone then contacted us on Hammer's chat on Twitter last night to say that he's not that fan, but he is also being told to move, and he's been shifted over to the Sir Trevor booking behind the goal. And he says, what's he going to do? He can't stand up. If there's action happening in the goal, he can't stand up. So if people stand up in his way, what's he going to do? He can't see. He can't stand up. So
it'll be fine. They'll all be running around to protest against the board every now and then.
So, these barriers are just provoking fans. It's to keep fans out. Fans can knock them down, shift them out of the way, climb over them if they really want to. Like you said, they'll just congregate at the barriers and still sing their songs and stuff. It just makes no sense at all. And like I said, I just see this as the club prioritising them over the fans underneath them. And it's just naive. Loads and loads of fans, not just me and you, loads of fans have been saying they need to stay away from the good of the team, and they're turning up. They're putting their egos before the support of the football team, in my opinion. But speaking of the barriers, they might also be putting the barriers up to keep the tax man away, because Mr. David Sullivan, he owes 700 grand to HMRC. Have you read about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up, actually. Okay, right. Firstly, there's no surprise, because as we already know, this is a man that paid £1 million to a company that had already been dissolved, that he had formerly been an owner of, right? So what he's tried to do is offset £700,000 through the club so he didn't have to pay tax on it. Okay, so I understand what he's done. Also, what he's done is probably not illegal. He's just now has to pay tax on it. It's tax avoidance.
It's civil, not criminal.
Absolutely, but it's tax avoidance. He's not. It's not full on skullduggery. He's tried to go for a loophole. Many rich people do this in one way, shape, or form. Some of them set up offshore companies. Lots of people do lots of different things. What I don't get, and this is what I don't get about it, is that £1 million, right? That £1 million sort of paid back through the company which had been dissolved. The tax on 700 grand, which is whatever, he's paying 40 pence in a pound. It just all, for a billionaire, for someone whose worth is £1 billion, it smacks of a lot of small wheeler dealing. You know what I mean? Wherever he's from, you say you can take the man out of Cardiff, but you can't take Cardiff out of man or whatever. He's got this.
Are you saying people from Cardiff are tax dodgers?
Yeah, fuck it, I don't care. Yeah, sorry if you're offended by that. Then you're probably offended. No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever town. We're funny enough. We used to say Canning Town. You can take the boy out of Canning Town, but you can't take Canning Town out of the boy. It don't matter. My point is, he's got a small-time crook mentality, if you like, which is, make a penny here, make a penny there, make a little wheeling and dealing. And people, as I always say to you, are generally consistent. And he just can't shift it. The fact of the matter is, it's fine. You've just paid yourself and Goldie, you've just paid yourself 10 million quid in interest. You got property all over Mayfair, all over the place, right? You are
Park Gardens. What?
Absolutely. You've got diamond encrusted panthers, chandeliers. He's got the stuff, right? He's got the kit. He's making so much money. He's in the Times rich list. I just think, is it not time to stop penny pinching? Is it not enough? Is the 10 million not enough? Is the money, the property portfolio not enough? Why are you trying to save on tax on 700 grand? You've made it. You've got there. You're minted. You've sold the you've sold Upton Park. That you've screwed the mayor's office with this deal. You are making money. And it's almost like he can't quite help. So I just got to make a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. It's a mentality that I don't understand. He's already raking it in. Why put yourself in harm's way? Why put yourself in trouble? Why put yourself under the microscope when you know people are going to be combing over those accounts by doing things which might not be technically illegal, but are certainly suspect and will certainly make people dig deeper? It's stupid. Pay yourself the interest, pay yourself your dividend, be transparent, and do no dodgy deals. He just can't seem to do it.
The best thing I found about it was Brady recently has said the British taxpayers, trying to defend the owners, and she used the British taxpayers thing, and this comes out. I just thought, you couldn't make this up about West Ham. This is so embarrassing.
But she does. Okay. Actually, she's the only one that probably does it right. So she gets her 860 grand from the club as a wage.
And a £200,000 bonus.
Okay, and that, which is a bonus. But what I'm saying is they are payments. Okay, they will go through a payroll system of some kind, and she will be paid X amount of money, maybe whatever, I don't know, £250,000, £500,000 by the BBC for The Apprentice. So actually, in many respects, she's the only one that is getting a transparent income. All these other dodgy dealings are so suspect and they're so shady. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. Mark Noble did an article. Did you read Mark Noble's article?
No.
Probably save yourself 2 minutes. He basically, I don't even think Mark Noble wrote it, to be honest. It's not how Mark Noble speaks. It's not how he speaks, though. Like, it's just not Mark. You can tell someone's typed up and went, Mark, do you put your name to this? He's going, yeah, that'll do. And then it's gone out. It's just piss fans off again. It's about, support the team, blah, blah, blah. We've been doing it all season, Mark. We were doing it for the first hour against Burnley, and then one person went on the pitch who you then threw to the ground. And then it says in it about things aren't going well and the results, and everyone's upset because of the results. Whoever wrote that, it wasn't Noble, but whoever wrote that, I don't know if they get it. I don't know if the club get it. I don't know if they think they will start winning, everybody will be happy with the board. Everyone will be singing board in. And while it will die down a bit, it's not going to go away. I think we're now over the line. This is the problem. I think we're now over the line. I think people were teetering on the brink. And I think the results, it's just pushed everyone over a little bit. And there's too many people over that line. They won't go back anymore. We're talking about the biggest game in a long time for us on Saturday. And there's 2 protests before the game arranged. Will anything happen in the ground? We don't know. I want to say no, but I would have said no before the Burnley as well, because I never heard anything, despite Can's thing of being organised and everybody on mobile phones and stuff. It's all that. But the Noble article was just bollocks. And that's the type of stuff I wish the club actually would just zip it. I'm telling you now, Trevor Brooking will say something. There will be a video or something of Trevor Brooking tomorrow or Friday or Saturday morning. He will be used as a pawn in this, because he spoke out after the protest, and he was at that supporters advisory thing last night or the night before. When has he ever been to this things? He's never been there, and all of a sudden he's turned up. And when I read the attendances, the list of people that came, and it said Sir Trevor Brooking, and in brackets it says who they are. Season ticket holder Bobby Moore, what website they're from, blah, blah, blah. Sir Trevor Brooking, West Ham United legend. I thought, okay, so he's not even there to do anything. He's there because you're hiding behind him. You're using Sir Trevor Brooking as a human shield. That's what you're doing. And I will bet you right now, I know you gamble, don't pretend you don't, and I gamble too. I bet you now something with Trevor Brooking will come out in the next 2.5 days before we kick off on Saturday. He will be used as a pawn, and he will be used for PR. And this is where I wish the club would shut up. Report on the ladies. Unbeaten in 2018. 8 clean sheets out of 10 games or whatever. Report on that. Report on the players on international duty. We'll talk about it in a second. They're on fire. They're all doing really well. Report on your family fun day you've got coming up next week. Report on stuff like that. But in terms of telling fans to support the team, just leave it alone. It's not doing anyone any good. And I'll be very surprised if one fan read that Mark Noble article and went, you know what, he's right. I'm going to start singing on Saturday now just because of that Mark Noble. It didn't happen. It hasn't happened, and it won't happen if you wheel out Sir Trevor Brooking. Nobody's going to say, you know what, I was going to go on that protest, but because Sir Trevor Brooking has asked me not to, I've changed my mind now. Nada. Doesn't happen. Speaking of protests, are you going on any? There's 2 before the game. One at 12:30 in Stratford Park. It's been classed as a walk or a ramble or a stroll. It's not a march. And pick any word, but it's not a march in order to keep it legal. And then there's a static protest in Stratford, location unknown. It's going to be revealed on the day.
It's not Mission Impossible, where this message will self-destruct in 10 seconds.
It says you've got to be in Stratford at 1 p.m. and at 1:15, the location's going up on social media and everyone's got to go congregate there for a static protest. Again, You don't need permission.
I reckon it might have been Trevor Brooking that instigated the first one, so he didn't have to sit next to Golden Sullivan. I reckon, wait, come on, bundle, and he got all the corporate area to himself. Maybe it's him again. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the boats and get drunk instead. Come and join me, anyone, if you want to. No, I'm unhappy with the boards. I don't need to. I say it on here every week. I think the clubs are shambles, but no, I'm not doing anything static. Well, I might statically stand at the bar, but no, I'm sorry, it's not. It's not for me. It's not for me.
Have you had how many emails have you had from the club about the shirts? They're 10. Have you ever seen our football shirts? £10. I say it early, but you know what I mean. At this point in the season, they must have a lot in stock.
I don't. It sounds bad. Does anyone else do this? I don't open them when I get emails from the club. I don't put them in junk mail, but I just do the little tick thing when I do like bulk deletes. I just delete them. I just assume they're trying to sell me something.
Well, they are, but I always click on them, right? But they've changed tactic recently, and I don't like it, because before you could click on it, you could read it. But recently, the last couple of months now, you click on it, and there's this graphic that says, click here to see the offer. I'm like, no, I'm not clicking on your website. Piss off. Yeah. Stop sending me an email. Make me click on an email so I can click on a button. Yeah. Stop that. That's tricking. None of that, please.
Yeah. The ticket office I do. I probably should say there's someone really, really nice in the ticket office. I do answer the ticket office when I'm trying to get a ticket or swap a ticket over or so. They're very, very good. I always open those ones. They're very nice there. But yeah, when I think it's the club shop trying to sell me something, no. I've got plenty of West Ham thongs as it is. Thank you.
Do you know what a shirt for £10?
Do you know what? I probably would. If I saw a shirt, I probably would, because I'm tight like that. I probably would buy a shirt just because it was a tenner. But not only am I tight, I'm also lazy. So whilst I'm tight enough for the £10 shirt to appeal to me, I'm too lazy to walk over to by the shelves by the telly and get my wallet.
Maybe you should start fucking clicking on them emails then.
Yeah, I know, but I still have to put my card details in, won't I? It's a bit much. If I'm walking, I'm getting up from the sofa, I might as well just switch Netflix on, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, delivery's probably more expensive than the actual shirt now. Is it still
will be to your house? Yeah.
Yeah, is it still? What's that meant to mean? You're
in Lapland, aren't you? This is going to be a lot more, isn't it?
Being a bit racist tonight, aren't you? Discriminating on our geography just because I'm stop. But no, I'm not getting a shirt. I bought the home one the last season. I don't like replica shirts, to be honest. I'd rather wear a claret and blue polo shirt, like what I'm wearing tonight. But I just don't like replica shirts. I just don't wear them very much. And also, I have to go from East London into the centre of London or wherever, and then up the road. And if I'm going to buy in a shirt, might as well just put a big fucking Target on my back. So come have a pop. Not yesterday. I keep thinking it's Monday today. Sunday, there was supposed to be a meeting for the supporters club, which got cancelled because some idiot is voted to dissolve it. It has to be for personal gain, right? Is it fair to say it's for personal gain? Is there any other reason to dissolve the support? For you that don't know, the supporters club, you all know what the supporters club is. However, someone or 2 or 3 people on the committee have voted to dissolve it. And if it gets dissolved, the assets get sold off and split among members. I've got 8 years or more continuous membership, and it works out they'll get about 5-6 grand each.
Yeah. There's a lot of significant assets, aren't there?
Yeah. They've got 1 or 2 flats on Green Street, and that's the money maker. I find, to be honest, this pisses me off. This type of thing. I think if you have no interest in the supporters club and you don't think it should exist for whatever reason, walk away from it. Don't renew your membership. Fine, don't renew it. Save yourself £10 a year. Just walk away and let people that do want the supporters club to exist get on with it and give it their best shot. And if it works, brilliant. If it doesn't work, then at least those that try can hold their hands up and say they did enough. And the rest of us, including me and you, because we don't go, can all feel a little bit of shame and embarrassment about it. But those people who are voting to dissolve it, fuck off, honestly, just fuck off.
Well, it's just wrong on so many levels, because, well, actually, forget so many levels, just on one level, it's just morally wrong. It was set up as as a place of relaxation for West Ham supporters. It's there for the fans. It really, our mantra, you know, made by the fans for the fans. That was, and it's just not meant to be dissolved for personal gain. And if it can, even if it just ticks over for the moment, what they need to, you know, then that's fine. What they need to do is obviously get a new committee on it, because I think they had some stipulations which were, if a certain, as you say, if a certain number voted for it, then they could dissolve it. But
60%. They need 60%.
Yeah. Well, in which case they need to change some of the personnel within that, because it's just wrong, and it's all very well people whinging and moaning about what Gold and Sullivan have done by taking us from our spiritual home and putting us over into Stratford. That's also a big part of it as well, and I would suggest that anybody that did that would probably be no better than them. Anyone that would, you know, perhaps facilitate that dissolving and then profiting from it and making $5,000, it is no different to what Gold and Sullivan did with Upton Park.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And they didn't meet up on Sunday. I think they're trying to vote on no confidence in the committee so that the committee gets re-elected. And I genuinely hope that happens and that it's saved. Lastly, before we move on to the questions, have you kept up with the international bit? I don't mean England, I mean our players.
I saw a Lanzini goal, which was really good. Looked to finish that really well. I know Declan Rice, I think, got man of the match. He made his debut for Republic of Ireland. He got man of the match. I know that. Obviously, I don't. For those of you that don't know, I don't watch international football at all. I saw a clip of Arnautovic did a lob, and I understand he scored 3 goals in 2 games. We got that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, I know the news, and I've seen some clips.
And Masuaku
left the Connolly's training camp because it was a bit dodgy. He did a Roy Keane, didn't he?
Yeah, apparently he's pissed off with a bus. That's what it was meant to take him to the game or something. Apparently him and 3 others wasn't very happy with the whole setup and that.
The bus?
Yeah.
How bad was it? What did it have an engine? Did it have to pedal or something? How bad can a bus be?
I say bus. It said transport. I just assumed it was a bus. Maybe it was a plane or something. But apparently they weren't happy with the setup of the camp, and they weren't happy with the standard of the transport to take them to the game. And 4 of them, Masuaku's one, have left.
Oh. I bet he was spitting mad, wasn't he? Perhaps he expected a Ferrari bus or something like that. These pampered footballers, do you know what I mean? Get on a bus, go and play for your country.
I knew you were going to make a joke about him spitting.
Eh?
I knew you were going to make a joke about him spitting. Something like it was. I was expecting you to say something along the lines of it was really bad. He couldn't swallow how bad it was, so he just had to leave. I was waiting for a spitting joke coming out over there.
Yeah.
Are you ready for question time? I think it's your favourite time.
I do. I like question time.
But before we do that, Gonzo's mentioned the boats on Saturday. If you'd like to join us, tickets in the link below. The link is in the description below, so come and join us. If you're on iTunes, if you're not on iTunes, the link to our iTunes is below. And if you're on iTunes, do subscribe to our iTunes channel. And thank you very much, and hope you're enjoying us being on iTunes. And lastly, we have lots of blogs this week, and we've got lots more coming up between now and the Southampton game. The link to that is also there. We've had record traffic. Traffic's going up and up, so thank you to everybody. That 1 keeps reading it, and 2 keeps promoting it, and 3 it keeps writing for us. They're the most important people. Me and Gonzo don't do any writing. Well, we should probably, but we haven't done much writing for it. So thank you to everybody, especially Alf, who writes pretty much every day and is very, very good read. So right, Liam X says, "What do we focus on next season?" I think we need to assume we stay up because
Liam X?
Yeah.
What did he used to be called?
What?
He used to be called Liam. What's he called now? Liam? Did you say Liam X?
Yeah, Liam.
Oh, I don't know if it was. Thank you. So I've just been brought a cup of tea. Thank you very much. What does the person formerly known as Liam want to know? What's his question?
He says, "What do we focus on next season?" Now, let's assume we stay up.
A Liam big overhaul. Manager, I think, is the key one. We've got to get a new manager. We've got to so much. There's just so much. Sullivan's got to be true to his word and relinquish his stranglehold over player recruitment. We would need a new manager, and we would need a midfield. It's quite funny, actually. I watched Golden Sullivan's first press conference 2 days ago. Their very first one when they took over, when he sat down there in his claret jacket and all the rest of it. And he's talking about the squad being imbalanced. And he said, we've got a real big problem. He said, we've got far too many midfielders and not enough defenders and forwards, which was quite funny because I just thought, you know, he said, we're going to sort that out. And it's quite funny how we've got to the point now we don't have enough midfielders. So midfield's going to be sorted out. Big earners are going to go. Chicharito won't be playing next season. There's so much to sort out, Liam.
Focus. He said focus. My focus will be cup. Same as every season. Go for the cup. I don't care who's up front. Well, I do, but you know what I'm trying to say here. Cup. Cup. That's my focus. Doesn't matter who the manager is, who the players are. Go for the cup. Flight Time says, will we keep Declan Rice if we get relegated? And do you worry that's... How much do you think we should sell him for if we have to sell him?
Okay, I don't want to sell him. I don't think we should sell him, and I don't think we will sell him. I think he'll stay because he seems to be that sort of lad. Do you know what I mean? He seems to have a bit of something about him. I think if he was a glory hunter, England were courting him, weren't they? England were after him. England was saying, you know, come and play for us. I think the fact that he's obviously got Irish heritage, but he is English, listen to him speak. He's English. He was brought up in England and whatnot. I think the fact that he has stuck with his heritage actually, I think, speaks volumes for him. And I think it would have been easy to go for the glory and be sort of lured by the you know, just the sparkle of England, if you want, the razzmatazz of England. But I think it does show a bit of his character that he said, actually, no, I'm going to stick with the Republic of Ireland here. Good for him. And I think you could probably translate that to what he would do with West Ham. I think if that's in his character, I wouldn't be surprised if he thought, actually, you know what, I'm going to stay with West Ham. I'm going to play every game next season, which I think he would. And then we'd see him and Nathan Holland. And yeah, that's not the one I worry about. I worry about losing Lanzini is who I worry about losing.
I worry about Rice, not because of Rice, but because of his talent. And that is he's going to be appealing to big clubs. He's young. He's homegrown. And people are going to look at him thinking, let's get him in now. Because his value today is going to be half of what it's worth in 12 months' time, probably, right? So if he's 20 million today, if he has a good season with West Ham in the Premier League next year, gets 30 games under his belt, he's a £50 million player purely because he's had 30 games, a bit like John Stones was at Everton. And I worry that a big club will come in and get him. I do think he'll stay, and I do hope he'll stay. We need to be building our team around him, well, our defence around him and Ogbonna. But what would I sell him for? You can't put a price tag on that, but every player does have a price, and that's what worries me. Eventually, our board and our fans will bite. I remember having this conversation with you and many other fans after the final season at the Bull Inn, and we said how much we would sell Payet for. And while we obviously wouldn't want him to go, we all accepted if Real Madrid or someone come in, we'd have to sell him. We all basically touted 50 million as the price at the time. And it's going to be the same with Declan Rice. There is a price. We'll all say, you know what, that's enough. Good luck to him. He deserves it. He's going to be a top-class defender. He's probably going to reach a level that West Ham aren't in a quicker space of time. He can go to a Champions League club in 2 seasons. West Ham can't go to a Champions League club in 2 seasons.
No. And imagine how many Jordan Hugills we could buy with 50 million quid because they would invest that money beautifully.
Oh, for God's sake. Bez says, what's the lowest you would sell Lanzini for? He's a strange one.
Oh, Bez is putting a boot in. Go on, mate. Sorry, I interrupted. Go on.
Yeah, Lanzini was in the paper saying he's very, very happy here, but he also made a comment like, as for the future, who knows, or something like that. It was along the lines of, it was very much he wasn't committing, and there's this whole thing about him getting a new deal in the summer, which was the same rumours as a year ago, and he's still not got one. His form for West Ham has been indifferent this season. And while he did well for Argentina, he's now picked up a knock because he missed the 6-1 hiding they got from Spain last night. He was in the stands with Messi. But he's another one you have to worry about. What would you say?
It don't fill you with confidence, does it? You know, sort of if your wife said to you, I'm very, very happy with things at the moment. As for next year, who knows? You'd be a bit worried, wouldn't you? But or not, depending on your domestic situation. I don't know. I don't want to sell it.
Let me guess. If you live in Cardiff,
and you're a wheeler dealer,
yeah,
absolutely. And your missus doesn't love you. No,
my sheep doesn't leave me.
I know. Lanzini, I would. the trouble is, I'll say 60 million because it's a figure, because Bez has asked a question, but it boils down to what I always say. I have zero confidence that the board would invest that 60 million wisely. I don't even think we'd see the 60 million spent. I think it'd be completely wasted. And for that reason, I accept no money for no players. Or any players. Is it no money for any players? Whatever it is, I ain't accepting anything.
Yeah, everyone, if you've been watching this channel since day one on here, I remember you'll remember this. I made a comment about Upton Park, and I said I preferred Lanzini to Payet, and everybody laughed at me. I stand by that. There is something about Lanzini. I'm not saying he's as good as Payet. That's two different things. But there's something about Lanzini. I think he's a little bit special, and if we sell him, to me, that's a completely step backward. When I buy my season ticket, I want to see players like Lanzini. I do not want to see players like, as much as I can appreciate him at times, Andy Carroll and James Collins and that, while I expect what they do and stuff. Welsh players. Cardiff players. Get them, man. I want to see players like Lanzini. I want to see us building players around and saying, in the summer, whoever the manager is has to sit down, write down his preferred formation, put Rice in, Lanzini in, Arnautovic in, and go, right, now who do I buy? Who goes in and around these? Who do I need to get in order to get Lanzini excelling in this role I want to play him in? Because right now, Lanzini ain't got a role. He's sort of the dog's body. Like, we're playing a formation that you have to just go everywhere. When we're attacking your centre, you're attacking midfielder in the centre. But when we're defending, your fucking right midfielder tracking the left back. It's completely up in the air. And we West Ham, David Moyes, are throttling Lanzini. We are killing him.
Yeah.
At this. I genuinely mean this. We are hindering his talent. That goal he scored against Argentina was a player with confidence. I've not seen that Lanzini at West Ham for months before his injury. Months. There's only one group to blame. That's our group, not the fans. Our group, West Ham United. We are to blame for that. Mark, we are asked about ex-players on the march. Now, I'm not going to ask about that. He basically said, if an ex-player's on the march, will that help? We all know the answer to that. Of course it would. But it made me think. David Sullivan said in an interview he's happy to have, someone said to him, would you have a supporter on the board? And David Sullivan's counter-argument was, we can have an ex-player on the board. Do you agree with that? He said the fans can help elect that ex-player. It's going to be Trevor Brooking, but I mean, apart from that, do you think we should have an ex-player on the board?
Well, I don't think it should be Trevor, and I love Trevor to bits. I really do. You know that. He's a big hero of mine. But Trevor Brooking has already been on the board. He has already been a director at West Ham Football Club. Trevor Brooking has also was on the board at the FA as well. So Trevor, I think it sort of defeats the whole point. My point is Trevor Brooking has a history of being involved in football at the boardroom level. That's not what the idea of having an additional person there. The additional person should be able to give it some raw opinions and really be aligned and in tune with the fans. So it would be very, very you'd have to choose very carefully. You'd also, it's going to be really, really hard, I think, for it to be a player. Also, it'd be very hard for it to be a fan, because that would be a thankless task for anyone that was up for that job. I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be. It would be what they call a poison chalice. You would get a ton of stick for that job. West Ham fans want a fan on the board. I tell you what, that fan would get dog's abuse the moment things didn't go well. It would. If a friend of mine said they were going to go for it, I would say, well, hold on, he might not want to do that. So something needs to be done, though. As I do think if it was a player, the list is going to be very, very small.
If it is fans elected, we all vote for Slaven Bilic. I want Slav just to see David Sullivan's face when Slaven Bilic is the guy that's... The worst thing is, though, Slaven Bilic is the type of player I genuinely want. He gets football. He's a fantastic pundit. Now, I'm not here to pick bones on his managerial stint with us. That's not what I'm here for, because a good manager isn't necessarily a good board person and vice versa. But he's intelligent. I think he gets fans. I think he gets it. He never ever criticised. David Moyes has always sort of said, "Oh, we need the fans behind us." Bilic never really said that. He sort of tried to say, "Well, I get why the fans are saying what they're saying. I get it." And he's actually the type of person I would vote for. 32X, not Liam X, 32X.
There's a lot of X's around.
A lot of X's on here. I'm starting to feel a bit uncomfortable. I hope they don't start the colour one.
Okay. It's Divorcees Anonymous, isn't
it? By the way, my ex isn't called Liam, just to clear that up.
Absolutely, yeah.
At 32X, it says, has the price of tea gone up since the move?
Well, listen, I don't know. That sounds a bit cryptic. I don't know what 32X is suggesting there. I've switched my brand though, so mine has gone up. I've switched from the PG Tips Pyramid to the Yorkshire tea bag, which is a stronger brew. I've finished it, so that's slightly more expensive. I'm thinking of going to the Golden Yorkshire tea, but rather than £2.99, it's £3.49. I told you I'm a bit tight. I mean, that's got to be for an extra 50p. That tea has got to be significantly better than the standard Yorkshire tea. I don't know really what the question was aside from that.
I've got PG Tips at the minute. To be honest with you, I've got no brand loyalty. See, this is going a bit off tangent here. See, when it comes to shopping, I've got fuck all brand loyalty. Whatever's on offer, I'm having. It's going in my trolley. And I tend, whenever I need tea bags, I tend to hold PG Tips on offer because I like them the best. But if they're not on offer and Tetley is, I'm having Tetley for a long while. And if it's the 80 pack or the 240 pack, doesn't matter. I'm taking one on offer. I'll buy some.
Cardiff breakfast tea. Beautiful.
Now, is this where you tell me that I'm typically Scottish?
Well, you are by penny pinching, but I can't. I've just admitted that I wouldn't pay an extra 50p, even though I quite fancy it, but there you go.
My tea just now is from your posh London place. I've got loose tea bags.
Fortnum and Mason. That's what they are.
That's my tea right now from the loose.
I've got to say, and I'm not going to give anything away, Geo got a Christmas present. And he was moaning about a basket. He'd got a basket, and he showed me the basket, and it was a Fortnum and Mason's hamper. Basically, he had basically like 400 quid of a hamper there, and it was a basket. And I said, "What did you get in it?" And he said, "I got this stuff, and there was marmalade." He'd thrown the marmalade in the bin, all this stuff, and you kept the basket because you quite liked it, didn't you?
Yeah. Very much. And the tea. I like the tea and the biscuits. Yeah. But anyway, on to the Twitter questions. At Curtin Hammer, Daz, who writes for us, says, if we lose at the weekend and bad, with the situation we will then be in, will we have anything else to lose if we sacked David Moyes?
I don't think so. It'd be curtains anyway, wouldn't it, Daz? So I think it's it's gone. It's gone. I don't think he can. I think you're worth risking the additional lift by bringing someone else in. The most worrying things, the reports I've read, which are the board have no desire to replace David Moyes. I think I read today, maybe yesterday, that they were happy with the job David Moyes has done so far. Well, that's that statement on its own. It's not a direct statement. Could have been made up, but we don't know. But yeah, I mean, drastic action is required. If they really do have their eyes on Silva, give him the last few games of the season. Get him in now. Bearing in mind, it's hardly a big payoff for Moyes, is there? Granted, he's got his backroom team there. But I think they've done enough penny pinching. I think if we were to lose, then we are in serious trouble. David Moyes would have demonstrated that even giving it his best shot, taking the players away on a sunny holiday, giving them, with 3 weeks training, doing everything he's got, giving it his best, he still couldn't turn it round. There would be nothing to expect that he would suddenly turn it round after that. I'd have one more roll of the dice, otherwise we are down.
If we lose, I'd sack him, and I would employ someone Monday. So quick as that. The person I would employ is already at West Ham, and you've got a choice of two: Terry Wesley or Steve Potts. One of them two, I'd say you've got until the end of the season. If we stay up, fantastic. But if we go down, you go back to your previous role. Your job's not at risk here, but we need to try something, and that's what I would try. If we lose on Saturday, Moyes has got to go for me, and he's got to go ASAP. This Saturday on paper is, apart from West Brom, it's the easiest fixture we could probably get. I don't care about Mark Hughes. He's a shit manager.
He's Welsh.
I don't care about this new manager bounce thing. he's a shit manager. It's as simple as that. He's an average manager, just like David Moyes, and they're both at average Premier League clubs, recycling the same old crap for some strange reason that we do. And I'd get him out if we lose. But moving on to the next one, Skills on Toast says, what's funny now?
Skills on Toast.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good name. It's a funny name. It's funny.
Well, I hope he's not using marmalade for that Fortnum and Mason.
Absolutely.
It's been in the bin. Would you rather have the main signing this summer to be a player or a manager? Please support your answer, he says.
Oh, pressure. I guess it would have to be the manager, because let's say, well, I support this as requested. Let's say it's a player. So let's say we get Jack Wilshere. Okay, I know maybe he's not a big sign, he'll be on a free, but let's say we put it all into his wages and we go and get Jack Wilshere. Jack Wilshere's going to be next to useless if we get Jack Wilshere and keep David Moyes. That's really going to be the issue. So I do think, however, that if we brought in a new manager, then whilst he might not need to bring in a stellar signing, you never know. It's like, as I say, we'll use Silva as an example. He might know a couple of people in the Portuguese league that cost, 5 to 10 million or so. Like Maybe he doesn't need a stellar signing. Maybe you got to look at it. Neves at Wolves. Crikey, that geezer's good. Maybe you go buy a player for 10, 15 million, something like that, and without going and having to buy a 30 million pound player. So I would choose the manager.
I would choose the manager as well. An average manager with good players doesn't mean you're going to have a good season, but a good manager with average players will tend to give you a good season. The case and example, Burnley. Good manager, average players, fantastic season. And to be honest, we are the example for the opposite of that, where you have good players, but you don't have a good manager. It doesn't work. And there's only so much the players can carry the manager. I know the players have to take a bit of responsibility when we lose, but when we win, sometimes the players do generally get the manager off with it. A moment of brilliance or something. Arnautovic has probably been carrying David Moyes for 5 or 6 of the games by just turning up. Manager for me, easily. A manager's worth points in a season. I always say this to you don't have in previews when we're talking about the other team and we're talking about the manager. I always say a manager at the start of the season, teams start with points, not on the table, obviously, virtual points, because of the manager. That manager will win them points during the season. Chris Hughton's one of them. Rafa Benitez is another one. If it wasn't for Rafa Benitez, Newcastle would be in the bottom 3 by now and probably gone. But it's because they've got the manager. They're in with a decent chance of staying up. Kia Deep Pros says, how many points do we need from the remaining fixtures to stay up?
Just about to say 7, Kia. I'll go 8.
I think it depends where you get the points. I was going to say 7 because in my head I'm thinking Stoke, Southampton, and draw with Everton. That's my 7. That would keep you up. But if you're going to lose to Stoke and Southampton, but you're going to beat somehow Man City, Man United, and draw at Arsenal, that 7 points ain't enough anymore because you've just given 3 to Stoke and 3 to Southampton, who are below you. It depends what ones, but I'll say 7 in theory. Not that one. We're missing some because we answer them every week about what manager you want to bring in. We've got plenty more weeks to talk about David Moyes. Daz says, how many players can we realistically bring in the summer window? And so will we have some players that we should get rid of have to stay? Now, I picked this question out because this is what I've been trying to say on our forum a couple of times, but I'll let you have your first go at it.
Well, Daz, I mean, it is a good, massive overhaul. The trouble is that we have, and we always have, is our owners seem to be stuck in almost the Birmingham City days, where what they think is a big amount of money is no longer a big amount of money. So I can imagine Sullivan being proud as punch. Let's say it was Moyes. I would imagine Sullivan be proud as punch as he handed Moyes 55 million and say, there you go, David. There is the biggest amount of money West Ham have ever had to spend on players. It's 55 million. Go and overhaul the squad. And I don't even think there would be a sense of irony when he did it. Well, of course, we all know, anybody with any common sense that's followed football in the last couple of years, 55 million is going to be a good player. Gio even said earlier, look at John Stones was 50 million quid. If Declan Rice has a couple of good years, he'll be worth 50 million quid. You're not overhauling the squad with it. So there's going to have to be wheeling and dealing. Some people are going to leave, but what you said was, are some people going to stay? I'll tell you something. Hernandez wants to leave. He probably needs to leave. It's not worked out for him. It's not worked out for us. We don't play to his strengths. Bilic didn't. Moyes didn't. I could well see a situation because his wages are so high where actually he is forced to stay. I can't. It's going to be very, very hard for anyone to get near 130, 140 grand's wages. Maybe that's the case for a couple of players. It might. Has Carroll got one more year? We might even find Carroll hard to shift. So I dare say we'll be stuck with a few, but we certainly do also need an overhaul.
My biggest problem is I don't think we have enough money for what the fans want to do this summer. I don't think this isn't a criticism of the board. Okay, I'm actually removing Sullivan. This is not a criticism of Sullivan saying he won't spend. I don't think we can spend because what we need. It's not just how much every player costs. It is a bit of that, but it's also quantity of players. How many players would you say we need today? 3 to fill the squad out because we're light on numbers. 3 players, 2, 3. Let's just say 2, right? You've also got Ginge who might be leaving. He's still got no new deal. He needs sorry. If you let Ginge leave, that's 15 million just to replace him, right? You're replacing someone that's already here, by the way. You're not upgrading the squad. You're replacing. You've then got Mario, Evra, and Hart leaving. Now, while you're say we don't need another left wing back, I agree with that. But it's a body. It's a body that needs replaced. If you're going to have 3 go, 3 need to come in. That's 4 players, and then 2 extra. That's 6 players we need to buy before we even think about upgrading. This is just to fill the squad out. How much is an average Premier League player? 10 million for an average one, a Robert Snodgrass type player to fill out your squad. Throw in a couple of freebies. That's 60 million just to get the squad padded out. That's without upgrading. That's without selling Chiati and getting in a decent sitting midfielder. That's without selling Andy Carroll and getting in a decent striker. We don't have enough cash to do all this. This is, like I said, this is not a criticism of the board. This is an observation. I don't think we have enough money for this summer, unless he's somehow going to have 100 million from somewhere. I don't think we've got the money. Unless he gets a couple of decent freebies and loans, which he's good at. You know, I think the Hearts replacement, I think, will be free, for example. The only thing he does have on his side is those 3 players I mentioned, Evra, Mario, and Hart. They're on about 300 grand a week between them. The wages is fine. We don't have to worry about wages. The wage bill is okay. It's like for like. It's bodies. Bodies cost that. I don't think we've got it, Gonzo. I don't think we've got enough to upgrade the squad. In the summer of 2016, when we had that transfer window, a lot of people were critical of it, right? And I said to you, on the video, I said, we needed a window like that. We had to go through a window where we just filled out the squad. We needed to 2 in every position instead of 1 in every position, 1 or 2 players that cover 3 positions. We needed it. We filled it all out, and I thought it was right. But the problem is we then sold all those players and we didn't replace them all. The following last summer, we're now back into the summer of 2016 for me, filling the squad out, getting in numbers. We need an extra winger. We need an extra striker. We need 2 centre midfielders, maybe an extra keeper. We ain't got the dough. There's one more last question. Let me just get the person's name. Shahir says, "Can we lose on Saturday and still stay up?" It's an interesting question, I think.
Listen, Shahir, I think trying to be sensible about it, I think we probably could lose and stay up. I think mathematically that is certainly possible. Take mathematics and take the sensible head off, and it would be a real uphill struggle. The trouble is, it would require such a reversal of form and fortune that it would just be highly unlikely unless something huge happened, like the manager was sacked. It would take a huge momentum shift to, I don't know what our run would be at that point, but it would be a pretty horrendous run that we'd have been on if we lose to Southampton, which it is already. And then to say, well, hold on, we lose that, but we're going to do enough in the remaining games to stay up would be highly, highly unlikely. So, mathematically, we can lose it. Realistically, we need to win. We need to win well, and we need to see that this jaunt to Miami and the friendly and the training has done some good.
Yeah, I'm past win well. I think everyone will just take a scrappy 1-0 right now. We've gone from must not lose to must win now. The Burnley game was a must not lose. In reality, one problem we've got on Saturday, it might not be a problem, is the 12:30 game. Palace are at home to Liverpool. Palace win that. That's going to raise the tension even more before we even set foot in that ground. And if we lose, we are guaranteed to be in the bottom three because Southampton will leapfrog us and push us in there. Gonzo's right. Your head, you mathematically, of course, we can still stay up. But in my heart, I think if we lose on Saturday, I think we're gone. Because how can you come back from this morally? And if we do lose, who knows what's going to happen at full time? There could be protests. There could be.
You don't want to tune into that review. I tell you, don't tune in Geo on Sunday if we lose.
The thing is, if the full time whistle goes on Saturday and we've got beat, I expect something to happen. I expect things to happen. Whether it's a mass pitch invasion, where everybody goes to the director's pit, something will happen because everybody will be furious. And I think a lot of people have the view like me and you have here, and that is if we lose, our fixtures are not pretty between now and then this season. We've got Man City turning up, who it might be the title decider for them as well. That's the worst thing about it. That could be the day they clinch the title. I think we're going to be playing Man U. I know it's not come out yet. This isn't official. This is just my opinion. I think we're going to be playing Man U in the last week of the season, midweek before the Everton game. And that is our game in hand over other teams. That game could be monstrous for West Ham. I think it will be then. Remember when we played at Upton Park last game of the season? That's when it was. It was the Wednesday before the last game of the season. I think it's going to be the same again, just because of the way the fixtures are. And but let's hope we don't have to cross that bridge. But speaking of Southampton, me and Gonzo will be back tomorrow night, on Thursday night, with our preview. It's only on YouTube, so if you're listening to this on iTunes, our preview is not on iTunes and won't be on iTunes. So you're going to have to go onto youtube.com/HammersChat. Regardless of which platform you're on right now, make sure you subscribe. If you're on YouTube, drop a like on the video. If you're on iTunes, please drop a review on the channel because it helps the podcast when people are searching for West Ham and whatnot. Head over to our second channel tomorrow, which is the forum channel. Link is in the description below because there's a special video for Canning Town Letting, David Gold, the musical. Gonzo, is there anything else you would like to add?
A couple of quick things. I've got a shirt from Shane, which is signed by Shane Crowhurst. Thank you very much. Lovely gentleman, lovely fella. It's signed by the 2006 squad, West Ham squad, not anybody else. And I've just waited. There's been so many shirts. We're going to do it for Isla, in case you hadn't guessed. There's been so many shirts by so many different people. I just wanted everybody else to auction off their shirts before we put this one out. So we're going to put this one out soon. I'm gonna hope, Baz, if you could help on this. He's so good at this sort of thing. Baz getting it out there and doing his stuff. Hopefully you can help out as well, please, mate. We'll try and get as much for this as possible. Big shout out to Doc Savage. Thank you for all your support. And no, listen, I've got nothing against Welsh people. My wife is Welsh. I love Welsh people.
I went for a pun there, but no.
That's it. That's it.
For the shirt, head over to the forum, hammerschat.com, and you can bid on the forum. We'll let you bid on the forum, and we'll keep you up to date with the highest bid. Bid in the comments below if you really want to, and we'll keep. But the problem is you'll miss what the highest bidder currently is. Because it'll change like that. But anyway, thank you very much. Gonzo, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye for me. See you Thursday night for our Saints preview. Big game, big preview. See you then.